So let's have a special bonus video here. Let's talk about adding trend lines to graphs. Now Excel will do that and it'll add it to the graph, but the limitation is that you can't actually use that function. Like, it's just text. And if you change your data, it will change the text, but you have to update any of your formulas referencing it. Now there's a way around this. Let's say you have your data here and we do insert, scatter, and we've got our scatter plot and we add a trend line to it. So add trend line, linear, all of that. And we get our y-intercept, our slope is minus 0.02, and our y-intercept B is 0.9977. Now that's great, but how do we know it's 0.02? How do we know it's not 0.0198 or something like that? Well, this is the major issue of the trend line, is that it's not a real-time update. We can't reference it like we could in active cell. So there is actually a special function for this. So if you highlight 2 columns and 5 rows, and you type equals LINEST, this will come up. The LINEST function is a way of getting Excel to tell you how it's calculating these numbers here in this linear regression. So you're going to highlight the y values, comma, highlight the x values, comma. Now the constant is basically what you think the y-intercept should be if you think it should be something. So if you wanted to find the y-intercept as 0, you'd just put 0 here. Or you would type true. True means that you don't actually know what the y-intercept is, so it's going to calculate it. Comma. Now, the next option is for statistics, and we're going to go through a few of the statistics. If you put false, the only thing it's going to give you is the y-intercept and the slope. But if you type true, it's going to give you everything. So it's going to tell you the r-squared value, it's going to tell you how many data points it used, all the statistical information. Now, you're not going to hit enter here. This is the trick. You hold down Control, Shift, and then you hit enter. And what it's going to do is fill in this 2x5 box. So let's talk about what these numbers are. This first top left number, you notice how it looks a lot like this minus 0.02? This is your y, or this is your slope. The one next to it, your 0.997698, this is your slope, your y-intercept. Now here's what this is giving you that the linear regression on the graph won't give you. This is the uncertainty of the slope. So it's minus 0.0198 plus or minus 0.00235. So it'll actually tell you how many sig figs are meaningful in that slope. This is the uncertainty of the y-intercept. So it's 0.997698 plus or minus 0.004101. So we actually know how many decimal points we should actually be carrying in this y-intercept. Now, this down here is what's called your degrees of freedom. And it basically tells you more or less how many data points it was using to calculate this. Now, the other one that's particularly useful for this class is what's called the r-squared value. And this is the goodness of fit. Now, you see you got this 0.996. This will actually give you the y-intercept to the r-squared to several values. So why do we care about this? Well, we care about it because now we can actively reference these numbers. So let's say we want to use this linear regression. We need to know the y-intercept and the slope, and we have to use those in functions. Instead of having to manually type minus 0.02 and 0.997, we can actually reference these as cells. So let's say our x value was 15.3, our y-intercept, our slope, is minus 0.98, and our y-intercept is 0.997x. Now this is the value it should have been at that particular given value of x. So this is the power of LINEST, is that it gives you the ability to actually make that slope, that linear regression line, an active function in your Excel sheet so you can reference it. Now the other major advantage of this is that, let's say you're updating your data. Let's say you make a mistake in your calculations, and you realize you forgot to convert something. So you go back and you convert. Now your y-axis has changed values, which means that your slope has changed values and your y-intercept has changed values. This LINEST function will automatically update. So you don't have to go back through and correct everywhere you reference the slope or the y-intercept, because these are active cells. And this is the power of LINEST. It's a great function to use, and I recommend you get familiar with it just because it is incredibly powerful.